Tandem Nomads, episode 149. You want to make things happen for you. You're ready for big change. You want to turn your challenges into opportunities. You want to build or grow your portable business. You want to make money. You want to be able to have life balance. But how are you gonna make this happen? By making yourself a priority. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find a great inspiration and tips to grow a successful portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. This is Amel Deregi. I'm a marketing and business coach and your host in this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is such a pleasure to have you back on the show after our winter break. And if you're listening to this episode when it's aired, it is the beginning of 2020, a time of the year where a lot of people are thinking about how they will make the best of the upcoming year. So I guess you might be one of these people who are trying to plan your next steps in your business or in your journey. And today I want to give you some inspiration to help you to make your dreams and your wishes come true. I love this quote that says, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." So I just want to help you here to make things turn to reality by sharing with you the 5 steps that will help you make yourself a priority. In fact, I know there are a lot of you who are listening are expat partners, managing a family on the move, and have so much on your plate to take care of. And most of the time, tell me if it's true, your own goals and your own wishes always fall behind. So before I share with you my 5 tips, I really want you to understand that it is so important that if you really want to build your own portable business and be successful at it, you will not be able to do it if you do not make a commitment to yourself to make that goal your priority. I know that this is one of the biggest hurdle of every entrepreneur in the world, but especially those who live globally. So I really hope that you understand that it won't happen if you don't decide to make it. So I can share with you these tips, but I want you first to understand that it starts from within. It starts by understanding the importance of committing to yourself and making it a decision, and also involving the people around you, that your needs and your goals matter as well. So if now you are ready to really commit to yourself and make it happen for you, here are the 5 steps in order to help you make yourself a priority and reach your goals in life and business. And I will go very briefly over those 5 steps, but if you're really serious about implementing those steps, I invite you to go to tandemnomads.com/149 and download the free video course that I have for you to help you to go through each of these steps in details. Go to tandemnomads.com/149 and find the link right there to download this video course. All right, so let's start now with step number 1, which is define your goals and your priorities. Obviously, if you want to make yourself a priority, you need to know what is your big why. Why are you doing this? And also, how are you picturing your life and your business on the midterm and the long term? You need to sit down and look that thoroughly to make sure that you don't put yourself under pressure to reach certain goals that are actually not aligned with your big picture. So if you want some guidance on how to reflect that, make sure to check my episode where I talk to you about how to make sure that your business is aligned with your life goals. So go to tandemnomads.com/149 and there you will find under the resources the link to this episode. So first, think about your big why. Why are you doing that? Then you can start looking at your goals for each year, for each month, for each week. Obviously, you do want to break them down into baby steps, like I often say, but you absolutely need to then look at those goals and see if they are aligned with your big why. Now, again, if you want to have some more guidance on how to define those goals and how to make sure also to step back a little bit and think about your past achievements and your past hurdles and challenges to learn from them so that you can make sure that the goals you're defining are actually making sense and that you're growing through your journey instead of repeating the same mistakes. So again, if you go to the show notes of this episode, I will also put the link of one of the recent episodes where I shared with you how to reflect on your past year and plan your next steps. So everything here is about sitting down and thinking your big why, and then what are your goals, and are these two aligned together? And then you want to start breaking down those goals into baby steps so that you can start implementing them. But then comes the step number 2, which is assessing how you're spending your time. So step 2, assess how you are spending your time. In fact, before even you try to start implementing your goals, you need to look at how you're spending your time. And I highly recommend you to have a notebook and actually track what are you doing every hour of the day. Try to do it for 1 week, for example. Try to sit down and write down, observe how many hours are you spending for each type of activities. I would actually invite you to first list the type of activities you have, such as household tasks, taking care of the children, and then anything other tasks that are personal that you have to do on a regular basis. Write it down and list those activities. Same for your business. List the activities that are related to your business. For example, if you are a blogger, content creation, if you're a coach, for example, look at how many clients you have to carry on and take care of during the week. Write down every activity related to your business, be it sales, marketing, or actually delivering your product or service. Put it down and measure the number of hours you spend at each of these tasks, and then observe them. So in the video course that I share with you in this episode, I will take you step by step on how to do that in a productive way so that you really assess productively and efficiently your time. But the goal here is really to understand what is happening in your day-to-day life before you start implementing goals that might not even fit, or realize also how you're actually spending your time and realizing probably that there's a huge gap between what you want to do and what you're actually really doing. If you realize that big gap, you will probably have more incentive to start making changes. Because at the end of the day, if you're listening to this episode, it's probably because you want to make big changes. You want to change how you're spending your time. You probably want to also move your business to the next level. So in order to do that, you need to identify what's working and what's not working. And for the things that are not working, start taking action to make these changes. Once you've assessed the time that you're spending in each activities and realize what's working and what's not working, there's one thing that I can already tell you that is probably not working, that I know by experience working with my clients and exchanging with so many people from the Tandem Nomads community and listeners, is the lack of support system, especially if you're living a global mobile life. So the third step to making yourself a priority is to create your support system. Very, very important. So when you do that assessment that I asked you to do in the second part, you want to look at what are the things you can get help with. What are the things you can delegate? What are the things you can ask support? But also, what are the things that you need to invest in order for you to grow? And that is one of the biggest message I have for you in this episode. If you want to make a change in your life and your business, and if you want to achieve your goals, it will require from you a commitment on a personal level, but most of the time as well in an in a financial level. And I know that that's really, really difficult, especially for those of you who are not used to invest in yourself. Your role probably, if you're a mom or a stay-at-home dad, is probably to actually save the money to the family to be able to take care of the children. And your whole mission and role has probably been to take care of others. But if you want it to be your turn now, you need to start learning to ask for help, ask your partners to support you, ask your friends and your family to support you, ask your children to support you, and communicate your needs. It is so important that you realize that you will not be able to be where you want to be if you do not start requiring the help you need. Sometimes that requires that one of your family members or friends actively help you with their time. But in a lot of cases, it means that you're going to need to start investing in household support, in childcare, but also investing in the help you need in your business, for example, with a virtual assistant. But most importantly, and this is something that I really want to insist, most of the people that I know that succeed in their life, in their business, are people who invested in the expertise to learn and grow. So if you're waiting for you to just start having magically the solutions to knowing where to be, where you want to be, it will be very hard. It is possible, but it will be very hard for you to get results very quickly. You will see as soon as you start investing in the support, but also the expertise you need, the more you will be able to reach your goals much rapidly. And I know that it can really feel really risky and scary. As I said, you might have never been in that position where you felt like you could invest in yourself. But it's all about a mindset more than cash flow. If you really believe in you, if you really are committed to yourself, if you really want yourself to be where you want to be, you need to have that mindset shift that your goals are as important as anybody in the family, and you need to start investing in yourself. And you won't be able to convince other people around you if you're experiencing doubts about it or a feeling of guilt about it. So I really want to invite you to think about this, but also to work on your mindset to start investing in yourself, be it in terms of support, but also in expertise. And once you've made that decision, you need to require that support from people around you, but also learn how to make that request in an effective way. For example, if you want to invest in childcare, you need obviously to have your partner on board if you're in a family, in a relationship. And that conversation sometimes can be very difficult to have. So make sure to check in the video tutorial that I share with you with this episode on tandemnomads.com/149. I'll share with you some tips to be able to make that request in an effective way, in a constructive way. You obviously don't want to start generating big fights and frustrations among your family and your community, and especially with your partner. So you need to do it in a very smart way in order to obtain the help and the support you need. Nomad Nation, I know I'm going to be very blunt here. It comes down to this simple mindset. If you don't invest in yourself and in building your support system, you are not taking yourself seriously. I know that it's not that easy to make it happen, but as soon as you're convinced that this is what you need to be able to reach your goals and make yourself a priority, you will find a way to make it happen. It's all up to you. And if you need a little more inspiration to support what I'm telling you here, I want to share with you, again, in the show notes of this episode, the interview that I had with Mariam Otefiore, who is a mom, lives in extreme mobility, and uncertainty with her family from a move to another. And I know that moving from a country to another is often the reason why a lot of expat partners don't take the time to commit to themselves and their goals to start or grow their business. So I want you to listen to this episode of Mariam, who launched her book and explains how she made herself a priority and made that goal a priority with her family's support to make sure that her needs are met even in high context of transition. It is such an inspiring interview with her, and I highly recommend you to check it out if you haven't already. And if you even listened to this interview previously and you're thinking now about seriously stepping up your game, then you really want to listen to this episode again. So you'll find it on tandemnomads.com/149 under the resources. I hope that I made my case here, because I do think that this is one of the toughest and biggest challenge of a lot of people who want to grow a portable business, and especially expat partners who live on a constant move. And if you are in this case, you need to know that there will never be the right time for you. You will always have something important to take care of and a move to plan or to organize. So I really want you to understand that, and I plead you to really try to build stability in your mind by really embracing the fact that there will be never a moment where it will be perfect for you. And I can tell you from listening to so many of the feedback I got from the community is this thing that I constantly hear is, oh my God, 15 years has just passed. 10 years has just passed. Where did my life go? And I don't want you to have to say that to yourself. So know that it's never too late. If you're in that case, you can take action now. If you keep waiting, you will see that your life will be continuously full of regrets of not taking action, because it's simple. There will never be the right time unless you decided to make it the right time for you. All right. So once you first defined your goals and your priorities, then second, assess how you spend your time. Then third, build your support system, comes the fourth step, which is designing a system, an effective system for you to get to where you want to be. So again, in the video tutorial, I show you exactly how to do that. But basically, in a nutshell, obviously here, it's about creating a calendar and a template calendar of how you're managing your time in a way that works for you, but also in a way that you commit to it to get you to where you want to be. It first starts with building the right routines. And I've often talked to you about this great book that I absolutely love that's called The Miracle Morning, that might really give you some inspiration if you want to learn about how you can improve your routines even when you're super busy and living on the move. So once you've assessed your routines, you need to start building a calendar, a time sheet that really helps you effectively manage your time. So for that, in the video tutorial, I explain you exactly how to do it. But I just want you to think about the times where you used to go to school, and that every Monday you would know exactly from what time to what time you would have math, history, English. So think about that template you want to build for yourself to know what kind of activity you do, what kind of day of the week, and what time of the day. So build that calendar and then stick to it. And when you build it, make sure to also communicate it to your family so that they really know what you're up to. I'm surprised to see so many expat partners, especially, have this goal and they commit to it and they're so much into it, but they don't even tell their partners or their children what they're up to. Of course, they can't support you if they don't know. So if you're in that case, please make sure to share your excitement about what you're working on and get everybody on board and communicate what are the times where it can be available, what are the times where you need help, and what are the times where you need solitude, so that you can focus on what you need to focus on. And for example, once you've built that calendar, I highly recommend you to put it on your fridge or in a place where the whole family can see it, so that you can really communicate those changes and make sure that everybody knows what you're up to. So make sure to create that effective system. And I also have some great tips for you in the show notes of this episode with the 10 ways you can get more effective with your time management, because I know that that's also another big struggle. We live in a time where we have so many distractions, such as social media and so much content out there. And by the way, I just want to pause here because I know that there's so much to listen to, even in podcasts. So I'm so grateful that you take the time to listen here. I just wanted to say it real quick because I do know how much there is out there today. So just the fact that you take the time to listen here means the world to me. And I really hope that I am giving you back your time by giving you something here that is truly useful for you. So really important that you are mindful about how you're spending your time and your attention. But hey, life is messy. And we cannot control everything. And it's not because you designed a nice, beautiful calendar with color codes and everything looks beautiful on the paper that it's going to happen that way. That I'm truly aware about it, and I'm sure you are as well. Life is very messy. There's a lot of unpredictables that can come up and show up. And here's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't, is that they adjust to their obstacles proactively instead of letting things slip away. And this is why I highly recommend you to regularly check in with yourself of the progress you're doing, and then adjust your goals, adjust your deadlines, so that you're the one who's defining what's happening and changing the deadlines accordingly so that you can keep committing to them, instead of letting those deadlines pass away and then ending feeling so disappointed about yourself and eventually get discouraged and completely give up. Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me if you resonate with that. Has it happened to you that you just miss out on so many deadlines that you end up giving up? So the secret to not giving up is the 5th step: adjust to obstacles and being proactive about how you do that. So I give you again in the video tutorials more details about that, but the principle here is really about regularly planning a check-in. So at the end of each day, for example, I look at what happened at the end of the day, what I've achieved, what I've not, and what were my goals for the next day. What should I adjust or not? I do that every single day. And then at the end of the week on Fridays, I check in on my program for the next whole week. And I look at what's doable, what's not doable, and I adjust things that need to be adjusted. The same for the end of the quarter and the same for the end of the year to plan the following one. So make sure to be proactive and to be mindful and intentional about checking in with your deadlines and your time so that you can adjust them in order to be able to deal with obstacles but also unplanned things. If, for example, you have something that comes up and that you really have to do, it's super urgent and it happened at the moment where you were planning to work on something. Well, instead of just simply replacing that moment you scheduled to get that job done, for example, in my case, recording an episode, instead of just deleting it and replacing it, make sure to reschedule it in your calendar proactively for another time so that you don't feel like this is again slipping away and I'm just going to have to figure out when to do it. Just be in charge of this instead of letting time slip away without your control. So I just covered with you the 5 steps to make yourself a priority. Before I end this episode, I want to touch upon something that I know is not very much covered in this episode, but is also real, and which is procrastination and sometimes perfectionism, which are 2 things that really usually go together. We usually procrastinate out of perfectionism and vice versa. But there's one more thing I want to share with you, is that all of this will not work if you are not committed and decided to make a change and to implement and to be committed to the process. But sometimes the reality is there are sometimes some deeper things that happen that stop us from really being effective with what's happening in our world and how we manage our time. And for that, I want to recommend you an amazing episode with my friend Sunday Bin. Sunday Bean is a solution-oriented coach. She helps a lot of people make major changes and transformations in their lives. And she is the host of the podcast show called Expat Happy Hour. She has been talking about procrastination and boundaries and perfectionism. I'm going to share with you one of those 3 episodes, and you will be able to find the 2 others, which is the one with procrastination. And I love one of the end messages that she shares, that no matter what, if you have not identified what is really stopping you from committing to yourself, it will be very hard for you to be able to do that. So do that internal work as well. As you move into building the systems to make yourself a priority, make sure that you've worked with yourself and your mindset to know why are certain things not working for you. So check that episode with Sunday Bean that I will put the link under the resources of the show notes of this episode, where you'll learn about how important it is to actually listen to also the deep side of you. Why are certain things not getting done and why you may be procrastinating? There might be some deeper things than simply not knowing how to manage your time. All right, so let me now summarize the 5 steps to making yourself a priority. Number 1, define your goals and your priorities. Number 2, assess how you are spending your time and your energy. 3, build your support system. This is the central pillar of how to make yourself a priority. And then the 4th step is create an effective system. And the 5th, learn how to adjust to obstacles. And as I said, go to tandemnomads.com/149 to have access to the full tutorial where I teach you step by step what to do exactly in order to get there. I really hope that this is helpful for you, Nomad Nation. I hope you got some great inspiration. I'd love to hear about what actions you feel like you will need to take and what is the step you need to start with from those 5 steps that I shared with you. I'd love to hear your comments. So in the show notes of this episode, you have a section where we can discuss this. And I invite you to share this conversation with us in the Tandem Nomads Facebook group. You'll find the link right there. I really hope for you that this year is going to be an amazing year. And don't forget that you matter, Nomad Nation. Your needs are important. Your dreams are as important as anyone around you. So don't forget to turn every challenge you have into an opportunity. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. I can't wait to see you in the chat in the show notes of this episode.